Do you ever wish you could just wave a wand and make the inequality gap just disappear? Well, if you're Barack Obama, you can, not with a wand, but with an executive order. The president doubling down his record-setting decrees from the White House, today issuing 2 new executive actions demanding equal pay for women. Never mind, he should first look at the pay gap within his own administration. Judge Napolitano doesn't like this presidential fiat legislation. It's a big theme of his. Now, the administration comes back, Judge, and says we're well behind the pace of our predecessors, so what are you kvetching about?
The Congress has given him the authority to do this. The president can actually tinker with contracts that the federal government has entered into and to say to the outside contractor, you have to employ X% of minorities. You have to pay women more money than you're paying them, or we're going to stop paying you. Now, normally, if you and I enter into a contract, one of us cannot unilaterally change the terms of the contract. But Congress permits the president to do that. Now, they didn't...
Forward contracts,
yes,
right?
Yes, they didn't give this president the power to do it. Prior Congresses gave all presidents the power to do it. So when Congress complains about this, Congress could stop it with the stroke of a pen. But the issue is he doing the right thing? Is he making an economic judgment, but is he making a social judgment couched as an economic judgment? Question, shouldn't the free market determine what people are paid? Because if the contractor can get the services of a class of people for less than what the president thinks they should be paid, that should be between the contractor and the people he's hiring. Stated differently, the president of the United States of America is in the worst position to be telling private business what they should be paying their employers. Congress hasn't done it. If there were a federal law that said women have to be paid the same as men, under the Constitution, Congress can do that under the Commerce Clause. Under the Constitution, the president cannot do it on his own, and that's what he's doing.
What if the president says, really, this is just applying to future federal contractors, a very limited pool of people, a very limited pool of contracts. I have no control over what the private sector does. I can maybe jawbone them, a la Teddy Roosevelt, to change things, but it's not going to happen. I'm just laying out the powers I believe I have with the federal workforce.
The answer is it's for the Congress to do. And the Senate this week is considering legislation that would mandate equal pay for men and for women. I don't think that legislation will pass, but it would be the prerogative of the Congress. Why? Because the Constitution. Remember that piece of paper that I spent so much of my time defending?
Constantly make a big deal of this thing.
The Constitution gives the power to regulate interstate commerce to the Congress and not to the president.
But what if the president comes back? I'm trying to give the full benefits of all doubts. It says, I shouldn't have to say that women and men are paid equally, but apparently in this environment where that gap is growing, I guess I should. You say what?
Mr. President, why don't you do it in your own house? Why is it that women in the White House are paid 88 cents on the dollar for every dollar that men are paid for comparable work? There, he can control all pay with the stroke of a pen. So is he doing this because he really wants it done, or because it's a politically providential thing for him to do at the moment?
See, he'll just throw in words like providential. I mean, it
just popped into my head.
Perfect score in his SATs, you know, right? You got a 1600. I got a 16.
I did not.
Just 16.
It was so long ago, I don't remember what the score was.
Exactly. It was providential that you didn't. Or, well, maybe it is because he called it Obamacare, but Nancy Pelosi is sure turning on one Robert Gibbs. Wait till you hear what got her steamed. Apparently, he never called her a saint. But first, you got the dough. You could spend as much of it as you want to make your political point. The Supreme Court just said so. I want you to meet the guy whose lawsuit, well, made it so.